So if you watch our videos, you have probably heard me use the word supple on more than one occasion, and especially the enigmatic phrase, the supple life. The supple life, the supple life, supple life. What does it mean? What are its origins? In this video, I'm going to explain. The word supple as an adjective to describe bikes, bike tires, has been making a comeback. It used to be, the emphasis was on bikes and gear that was light and stiff and fast. With Jan Heine and his magazine Bicycle Quarterly and the ideas that he has spread throughout the years, supple is slowly becoming the new arrow. And the idea being that this compliance, this suppleness, increases your fun factor, your comfort, and doesn't have huge sacrifices in speed. Okay, so that is the technical use of the word supple. That of course sprang some hashtags on Instagram, most notably supplelife. And if you go through the Wayback Machine, supplelife, its initial uses were a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's usually posted by people that had Compass tires and got flats, and in a joking way we're just saying, hey, living the supple life. That's kind of like the earliest kernel of supple life. This idea of the word supple as a new bike cultural term was then elevated by our friends Boys on the Hood, who came up with some cool stickers and patches. This is one of their stickers, and what I love about this, it's a complete remix of kind of different cultures. For those of you in the know, you will recognize the reference to the brand Supreme. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Boys in the Hoods, you should definitely follow them on Instagram. They're up in the Bay Area. They do all sorts of fun rides. But their use of supple was the first to kind of elevate it from this kind of mocking tongue-in-cheek flat tire reference to a larger kind of cultural, bicultural context. Big ups and props to the Boys on the Hoods. And that kind of dovetails into how I've started to use the term. So I review a lot of bikes and bike tires on the channel, and I start to use the adjective supple to describe things maybe a little bit too much. And you guys in the comments kept asking, oh, is it supple? Is it supple? Supple this, supple that. So on kind of a whim and as a joke, I think it occurred during filming one of the Bikes X Bourbon with Toffer. I decided to kind of just add the to supple life, the supple life, kind of like how Scotch has, the Glenfiddich or the Glenmorangie, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but with bigger intentions behind it, and just start using that phrase. So that's how I kind of came to using, the hashtag specifically, the supple life, think the Glenfiddich or the Macallan, just to see if a nonsensical word could come to mean something greater. But that still doesn't really answer, I think, for a lot of you what it means. So yes, it is, the word supple does refer to some technical aspects of tires and bikes. But for me, that's kind of less important than the more interesting secondary meaning of the supple life. So the secondary meaning for me is more of a banner for cyclists that like to have fun, that aren't so rigid and stiff in dogma, in training plans necessarily, but like to ride bikes. It is, I totally understand, an imperfect term for what I'm trying to capture. I think that the bike industry as a whole has, it's, a bulk of its focus on racing and performance, which is cool. Like, I'm totally not against that. But what it does is it, leaves cyclists like myself, maybe like you, who have no interest in joining a team or kitting up, but still like going on adventures. It gives us a really poor language, and we're kind of left to define ourselves against another idea, like unracing, like Surly does. So my hope is that the supple life kind of encompasses this huge mass of cyclists that love bikes, that are bike nerds, but will never podium, that don't really care about watts, that are looking for a place that's inclusive of whatever their weird kind of biking wants, needs, and desires are. I think kind of a kindred spirit on Instagram would be the Camp and Go Slow folks. So again, mashing up the Campagnolo logo, and which is typically identified with performance and high end, and remixing it to something that is a little bit more casual and chill. That's what this is all about. The supple life is for the chill cyclist that likes to ride bikes, that isn't a dick, and that just wants to have fun. It's hard to communicate, but this notion that there's other ways to ride a bike, to enjoy a bike, that are just as valid as kitting up and being part of a team, not articulated very well or very often by the bike industry or bike media. So that is the space that I want to fill with the Supple Life. That's kind of the focus of our content here on the channel. And honestly, guys, if you like content like that, if you guys appreciate someone showing up every week, 2-3 times a week to make content that other bike publications or YouTube channels aren't focusing on, then consider supporting the channel. If you do sign up as a supporter on Patreon and PayPal, they've actually got some pretty cool perks, from original watercolors to even some pretty good discounts with certain brands that I've reviewed on the channel that are friends of mine that I truly believe in. So we're talking like 20% off of some Swift Industries stuff, Redshift stem, that cool travel case I've been using, Tenkara Rodco. I reached out to them because they were kind of brands that embodied the same ideas, and they agreed to come up with some exclusive discount codes for those that are supporting the channel, because they did what I do and I did what they do. And I totally make no money off of this sales. It is really a way to find another perk to add some value to you guys helping support this channel, because I truly appreciate it. So with all that said, I hope that made sense. If you guys have any questions, leave those in the comments below. And as always, keep the supple side down.